The special begins with Ishnifus Meadal chanting and singing with the monks of the Church of the Black Cloak about the Doomstar being born, and that before the Prophet's night is over, one of them must die, as Charles Ofdenson looks on and expresses concern for the looming Metalocalypse, the birth, Fata Sidus Oricha, one of us must die. It then cuts to Magnus Hammersmith and the metal-masked assassin holding Toki Watooth and Abigail Ramelton prisoner, keeping them both just barely alive in order to lure the remaining members of Death Klok into their trap, Magnus and the assassin. Meanwhile, Death Klok is partying around the world, in an attempt to forget that Toki is missing, partying around the world, while Ofdenson is in the control room attempting to locate Toki. The Cloketeer's best operative has returned dead, with a USB flash drive found in his remains. It contains a video of Magnus holding Toki and Abigail hostage, saying th. At his location is at the depths of humanity. Ishnifus tries to motivate Death Klok to search for Toki, calling them brothers, but Death Klok denies that they care about Toki, tracking Ishnifus in the challenge. Death Klok then collectively laments about the weight that is being put on their shoulders, and question their ability to rescue Toki if it comes down to that. Ultimately, they refuse Ishnifus's plea, "How can I be a hero?" At a live show, the band uses a hologram to represent Toki, but it malfunctions, and the fans begin booing Death Klok. Realizing that they have no other choice, Death Klok finally makes the decision to find and rescue Toki. The fans are chatting. Abigail comforts Toki in an attempt to ease his fears, urging him to go to his happy place, Abigail's lullaby. This is shown to be the day when Toki first auditioned to be in Death Klok. The band needed a new guitarist after they kicked out Magnus, so Skwisgaar Squigelf engages in a guitar battle with the hopeful tryouts, defeating them all. Toki arrives late, but Skwisgaar gives him a chance anyway, some time ago. They begin a guitar duel, in which Toki is able to perform nearly on par with Skwisgaar. Eventually Toki makes a mistake at the end of the duel, and while the band says he can't join, Skwisgaar says, "Nobody's ever made me plays this well," and invites Toki to join Death Klok the duel. Toki then thinks of his happiness at the band's subsequent fame and fortune, and at his acceptance in the band, I believe. A meeting of the tribunal is shown, with Mr. Salacia, Senator Stampingston, General Crozier and Waiter all are present. They mention Death Klok's decision to rescue Toki, and discuss that they have a traitor within Death Klok's ranks, a traitor amongst them. Meanwhile, Degar Jimfru helps the band prepare for their rescue mission, and both he and Ishnifus have some inspiring words for them, training, "Do it all for my brother." Before they leave, Ofdenson resigns as their manager, saying he can no longer protect them. "Before you go." Death Klok realizes that Depths of Humanity is the name of the club where Toki played his first gig with Death Klok. The answer is in your past, and goes there to find him. Instead they encounter their old band manager, Skwisgaar's old guitar teacher, and old groupies. They harass Death Klok about how the band abandoned them. A member pulls Murderface aside to greet him, and accidentally cuts his wrist. The rest of the band grab Murderface and flee the club. Skwisgaar shows the band an old flyer for the rehearsal space where they auditioned Toki, and they head there to find him, the Depths of Humanity. On their way they encounter a mob of zombie-like musicians and drug addicts. Realizing they cannot fight the army, they instead give them no reason to hate Death Klok. Nathan writes checks to the musicians, while Skwisgaar, Murderface, and Pickles donate their equipment to help them get started in the music industry. The junkies can't be bought off, though, and Pickles has no drugs to sate their addictions. All seems lost, until Dr. Roxo suddenly appears with a giant bag of cocaine so that the band can escape, given back to you. Inside the practice space, they are ambushed by the metal-masked assassin. However, Ishnifus appears, and sacrifices himself as a distraction, so that Death Klok can proceed to find Toki and Abigail, Ian Antros et Stellar Fatum Cruenty. The band considers giving up and making a run for it, with Murderface pointing out that if it was he and not Toki, nobody would come after him. Nathan realizes he would risk his life for any member of Death Klok, and the four resolve to complete their mission, the Crossroads. They succeed in locating Toki and Abigail and free them. They are confronted once more by the assassin, but they stand by Toki, and their brotherhood activates the power of the Doomstar, ascending them to inhuman heights and finally killing the metal-masked assassin. Magnus sees the error of his ways and realizes he is the villain. He stabs himself in the heart, taking his own life as recompense for his sins against his former bandmates, Morte Lumina. In the conclusion, Death Klok celebrates their success with a massive concert. Nathan and Abigail become a couple, and Ofdenson becomes the new high priest of the Church of the Black Cloak Blazing Star. At the very end, a sleeping Murderface is shown being slowly overtaken by some sort of dark energy, emanating from the wound on his wrist.